Now we're moving over to politics for real, politicians. I want to welcome on stage two members from the European Parliament who will be dealing with the Critical Raw Materials Act the coming year. And so I'd like to say we invited MEPs from several parties, groups, but life is busy here in Brussels. So, but we're very happy to introduce to you Jessica Polfjärd, rapporteur for the EPP in the Envy Committee on the Critical Raw Materials Act, and Hildegard Bentele, shadow rapporteur for the EPP in ITRE. Please welcome on stage. What are your reflections when listening to the companies here in the green value chain? Yeah, please, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I think it's always a pleasure to listen to the industry. And I remember once when I listened to a panel on COP26, 27 in Glasgow, and there were Swedish companies that said that we are ready. We're just waiting for politics to move faster. And I think that is a message that's been sent to us quite over time. And I think it's therefore very interesting to listen to companies that are over 100 years old, but are leading the transition into the new era. And I know that if they weren't able to adopt to what is new and what is needed, they wouldn't be on the market. So therefore, I think there has been an adoption that has been quite fast and leading the transition and see that we can do things what we have from a Swedish perspective and all over Europe, of course. But I think this is a good signal to politics.
What do you say, Hildegard Bentele? What are your reflections listening to these previous panel discussion from the green value chain?
Well, I've been in touch with many of you. I know many of you for the last 2 years because I've been also the rapporteur on the initiative report. So I prepared the parliament and I tried to prepare the ground a little bit. And now we are touching on the crucial points, I think, what the panel did right now. And this is also my ambition. I don't want just to have a piece of paper because we have to change things profoundly. So I was very much approached about the strategic projects because they allow a special governance, fast permitting. It's 1 year or 2 years. It's extremely fast. But I'm very much aware that what was just mentioned, the coherence with other directives, because the devil is in the detail. So we have to find a way now, I think, in the process now to find flexibility, because I was told also with regard to the water directive, because we will be accused, to lower standards. But we also, and this was mentioned, the implementation, there is flexibility, the question until, what kind of limits, can you change the water? Not at all. Or can you change it to a certain extent just to keep the safety, to keep the safety? So I think we have to, this is at least my idea, we have to think about this now, because if you do not really change things, nothing will change. So, but I also see a good element there, that's the one-stop agency, which, might get a real role because the permit procedure also sometimes gets stuck between the courts and the companies, and there's a lot of insecurity in there. So we really have to, I would say, nail down the member states now to change really something in the procedures, in the administration, and to be really fast and deliver also now. Because I was approached also, by many. Everybody says we need to be fast. We want to have the act right now. We are speeding up a lot. I think the current timetable is that we want to finish until the end of the year, which is, really light speed for the parliament. And everybody's looking for the list of strategic projects. And I also, would like to already, ask the Commission and also the member states to ask for strategic projects, to prepare them, to put them on the table already at the beginning of next year, that we can really start and that we can really make this difference. Because there are many projects out there which are ripe, which are ready, but which would also, if they had the label a strategic project, would also give a signal to local communities, to regional communities, to the citizens, that we have to do something there, and we want to now make this change and this progress, and to really have new mining in Europe. I think this is the idea. People need to get used to it. Also, the governments.
Well spoken. What are your thoughts, Jessica, on the act in a general terms? Is it ambitious enough, or is it too ambitious, or like in broader perspective?
I think at first it's a good way to show from politics that this is a prioritized issue, and we can see that it is important for industry, but it's also important from a security point of view. And I think that has speeded up the processes maybe a little when we can see what's happening with us not getting phosphor, for example, for fertilizers, and we can see that we are vulnerable. And of course, like Michael said, this doesn't solve the whole problem, but I think it shows the way and the will from politics that we want to address these issues, and we will want to be less independent. It won't make us independent, but I think it's a good way to show that we really want to have a European industry in the mining sector and in the minerals and so on. And we know that innovation moves faster than legislation. And maybe in a couple of years, there will be other replacing minerals, for example. So therefore, I think it's a good way also to update the list. And I know that some of you have point of views on whether the list is a good tool or not, but I think that we will have to sort this out during the negotiations and look closer into it as well. But I think it's good, and the strategic projects, I think there are many that want to raise their hand and say that we want to be a part of that, and I will not go into details, but it's also a balance. What is the EU legislation and what is the national competences? And in many areas, we are quite strict in what is national competences. I think it's very important also for us to find the balance here, so it will be something that works. But of course, it's a good way, I think, to show. There will be a discussion, of course, about targets, and I think don't focus just on the targets, because we know that is easy to just have an auction and say that we want 50, we want 60, we want 75, and it isn't like that. That the highest bidder is the one who is closest to the reality, I would say. And I was a shadow rapporteur in the battery regulation, and we can see that can also hinder innovation. Because when we're talking about recycled content, we know that there isn't enough materials on the market, and therefore it's dangerous even for politics to say set a certain number and a certain target. So therefore, I think it's don't just focus on the targets and just focus on the positive side, that the politics is pointing in this direction, and we're pointing to Europe, and in some ways even pointing at Sweden.
As a rapporteur, what articles would you prefer to be responsible for?
Oh, my favorite articles are 2, 5. No, we don't know yet because it's a discussion between the ITRE committee and the ENVI committee what competences will be given and what competences will be shared. And therefore, I think it's very important to have an overall outlook on this. And I know that Hildegard is a very decent person, and we will work closely together from the ITRE committee and the ENVI committee from the EPP side, at least.
Please.
I mean, we have made sure that it's in good hands in both committees. So this is why we are closely working together, and we try to, follow up a reasonable, pragmatic line. But I mean, my appeal to you is, you see, we understand your problems, but in the parliament we might face other discussions. I mean, what I faced 2 years ago was a ban on protected areas. So, I mean, we could push this back, but this will come again. We were already told, and really, because this was said by the representative of Vestas, I think our aim should be not so much to meet any kind of benchmarks and targets, but our aim should be to have the most sustainable and innovative mining sector in the world. So this, if we cannot show that we do responsible and sustainable mining in Europe, I mean, this is what Michael said, if we don't, bring upon our minds, so how can we ask this from abroad? I mean, you were talking about supply chains, investors. So where do you get your raw materials from? From third countries? Are there better sourced there? I have 3 question marks. So we should really focus now and show, and the member states should be ready to show that we can do it here. So, and we cannot then talk about about the same problems we have been talking for the last 10, 15 years. So this is really a crucial moment if we are ready to up to the challenge. And this, we should have this broader picture and not, and really look at the safety issues. We need to have a safe industrial production. But there were exaggerations, I would say, in the past. It's a lot about implementation, because then the EU is being blamed, to be too detailed and so on. But it's very often also the member states, I can say this from Germany, who are gold plating on top and top and top. And this is not the idea. We have to have a clear, simple way now to find it. And this is still my ambition in the process, which will be short, the negotiation process. But this is the aim I'm having, at least.
Yeah, Jessica, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I think that as we are the political panel, and you have invited all the party groups, and 2 showed up from the same party group, so there will not be much of a discussion, and maybe it's even not very polite to attack those who are not here. But I would say that it's needed also in the parliament a real discussion, because I think that many of the left-wing parties are cherry picking. They are saying that we want a transition, we want electrification, we want electrified cars, we want wind power, we want railways. But then you have to tell the full story. Where do we get the materials from? And I think that is a good indicator for starting the negotiations and to really have the broad discussion, because you can't just tell the half story. You have to take the full picture. And I think that is a political issue there where we will have maybe different opinions. We'll see.
Yeah, and also, like you were mentioning, that we actually have to spread the word that we do have mining in Europe, and we're performing well. About a year ago, we were here from Svemin in Brussels, talking to a lot of people, and we were, stunned by the ignorance. But quite some higher people that we met that didn't even know we have mines in Europe. They were literally asking Maria, our CEO, why do you come here? Do you mine in Congo? We go like, no, we have mines in Sweden. It's like, we have some work to do, all of us, on awareness, spreading the light. Like we heard earlier, Pia from LKB talking about that all these other regulations coming, messing things up. And there is a fear that the critical raw materials ambition of increased mining in Europe will be hindered by other regulations like the Nature Restoration Regulation and the Industrial Emissions Directive. Do you agree?
Yes.
That's the challenge. But I mean, as lawmakers, we try to be coherent. And I mean, I'm sitting in both committees, and Jessica is very familiar with industrial issues. Yes, again, we have to be coherent. This also when we talk to other colleagues, I mean, this is like in the Commission, they're thinking in silos until now. And what we have seen with the Green Deal is a proliferation of legislation. I have the feeling even the Commission has lost overview of what is going on, and they don't know that there are contradictions. So my idea with the CRM Act would be to make like a filter, to say, these are critical and strategic raw materials. Don't forbid them, don't threaten them to be forbidden soon or so. We have to kind of like a marker, a filter, like a broader thing, like a chapeau, something which really understands this is strategic, this is critical, this is essential. So this not overrules, but you have to keep it in mind, and you have to think what are the impacts of new legislation on these supply questions of these materials. This is what I try to implement. I'm also a member of the DEVE committee. I was happy to see that at least INTPA, which is the international corporation, works well with DG GROW. We have to make sure that DG GROW works well with Sinkevicius and Timmermans and so on. But still, there's a way to go, as you said, if they even don't know that they are mines. I learned yesterday that there's in Spain, because we always look to the Scandinavian countries very often. But even in Germany, in the last 2 years, I got in contact with quite some people who also developed mines in Germany again, who are about to do that. So, and yesterday I met a representative who has a very advanced project, lithium, in Spain. So there is quite a lot of things out there, but it's not yet on the minds, and it's not yet on the minds to make these projects going well and fast. So this is the next stage we have to achieve. But I think the fact that we have the act and that in the council they have to deal with it, it's very important. Just because I know that Sweden is very much committed, but the next presidency will be Spanish. They have elections in Spain, so please, Swedish, push also the Spanish that they keep the pace. So because it's very important that we finish this in this term, and as I said, our rapporteur even wants to finish until the end of the year.
Yeah,
so.
I know you both have to leave this building very soon, but do you have a final message to the companies here, sort of performing the green transition?
Yeah, my answer was quite short in the last round, but I would refer to that question anyway, because I think here it's important that industry really talk to all the different DGs, because we also get different answers. When we ask Breton, we get one answer, or when we ask Sinkevicius, we get one. So please be active and don't be shy, don't be Swedish. Just raise your voice and do it in an early stage. I would say that you are all very good, and I know that you are important, but sometimes you are too late. So be as early as you can, and be even earlier than that. So that would be my message. And of course, keep up doing what you're doing, because it's needed. It's you that doing the transition. It's not us. So I think it's a good. And I'm very, very proud to be Swedish, to show what is going on in the north of Sweden, and the green transition is something that is very valuable to show in the window of opportunities, where the other European countries are struggling and cannot really see the benefits of the green transition. So I think that is most important, to do what you're really doing.
Thank you, Jessica. Hildegard, do you have a final message to the organizations and the companies here?
I would also comment you, because you were active in the last 2 years. I know this. I mean, a lot has changed, I think, here in Brussels. We had a lot of events, and you are very much aware of what's going on. But I can repeat, you have to reach out. I mean, you have EPP on your side, I would say also, but you have to reach out and really talk to those people who know industry, who are interested in jobs and sustainability, and make your case. I think that would help us now in the next weeks and months to come, would help us a lot if we could change this perception and also have this common goal to establish, to promote sustainable mining industry in Europe. I think this is my goal. And we have all our arguments on our side, but this is now the crucial point to show it. So now we are at the end of the marathon, I would say. So we should really speed up now and take the last phase. And then let's hope we get something very good at the end of the year, beginning of next year on the table, which would make a difference then.
We surely hope so. Thank you very much. And good luck in your, you have your bit behind schedule, but thank you very much indeed. Thank you.